was a flat, eventful day, and my day got started with dealing with my neighbors and my kid being scared because I got a little, I mean, just being transparent, a little Bell's palsy going on. So I have an appointment with the, chiropractor tomorrow and a massage therapist. I need some me time. But I did not want to cancel this show because I feel fantastic. It's just half my face doesn't believe me. I can't help it. I just can't help it. Listen, I was telling my daughter and my big sister who might be trying to call me because she's hearing this and she's mad. I'm turning off the phone. You are going to face so many challenges starting something. And there will be so many excuses of why not to follow through. I'm a living testimony that if I would not have the beautiful family I have and have accomplished a few things that I've accomplished in life without overcoming objections, it's the funniest thing. Every time you go to do something of some significance, there will be something that will challenge your faith. You have got to understand that if you want to make impact in your community, in your business, you have to learn how to fight through the challenges that they will seem like they will seem like they're not associated or attached to the thing that you are pursuing. But I'm here to tell you, no matter how much you do to prepare to set yourself up for success, there will always be something that will try to oppose you. There's a book called Grit. I think her name was Angela Duckworth. Yeah, you don't know what that is.
I don't.
No, you haven't. I have it on Audible if you want to listen to it, though. But there's a book called Grit by Angela. I think her name is Angela Duckworth. I'm not sure. Look that book up on Amazon. You have to have grit in pursuing any vision that you have. Because there will be opposition. I refuse to be embarrassed by my grit. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. I think that's part of the problem is the lack of grit in building something. You're supposed to say you're supposed to ask me what is grit.
I was going to ask you that.
Are you going to ask me that?
Yes, I was going to ask you
Okay,
that.
thanks.
What is grit?
What is grit? My granddaughter wants to know what grit is. Let me tell you what grit is. Grit, this is my monologue. Now, if you've been listening, you know I have a monologue. You can never leave my video and say you never learned something.
Like what?
Always learn something.
Yeah.
What is grit? Grit is the ability to keep pushing forward when you don't see the end. It is tied to your faith. Finding a way to win, regardless of the circumstances. It was Dr. T.D. Jakes that said that at the darkest points, when things looked like they weren't going to work, that's where he got his victory. Now, those aren't the exact words, because I don't remember the exact, but that's the way I received it. You have to know how to speak. I can't say the word speak. Speak. Can you say speak?
Speak.
Thank you. You have to know how to talk the right things into your life in the absence of light, because that's all darkness is. It means nothing's been created in that space yet. The dark is not the dangerous part. It's the fact that you don't recognize that you're a creator and you have the ability to speak, to talk, or to say something. On top of that darkness, it's like a black canvas. You know, that's when you can start drawing. That's when you can start writing. That's, you know, it's a black is the beginning of all things created. Well, all depends on how you want to take that, you know. You know, when the challenges come, it's not a time to panic. It's really a time to rejoice. Now, I'm not saying that by faith. I'm just telling you, no matter, I've read it from enough people, I've seen it in enough successful people's lives. You know, Steve Jobs left Apple and was rehired back to the company he created or helped create. Darkest moments. In the Bible, David was kicked out of his kingdom by his own son. Darkest moments. You know, he was, you know, when he ran into the jungle. And this is for the Christian folks who understand what I'm saying. When he ran into the jungle, you know, and those who have also had problems in leadership or with their leadership ran behind him, and then they, you know, went to live in their enemy's camp. It was willing to fight with their enemy, but the enemy didn't want that because they thought they were being set up, but they were too scared of it. Come on, look, you got to be willing to fight when it's tough. You need grit. When someone's telling you your dream is not as worthy as the dream that they want to put on you, you got to be willing to fight and say, I believe in my dream. I believe in the vision God has given me. I believe in, I have faith that I'm going to learn how to overcome these objections that are hitting me. I have grit. I have the ability to fight past being average. I'm tired of making excuses. I had an excuse not to do this show tonight. You know, low viewership. Why? You know, I'm not, you know, my face, I feel fantastic. My face tells me I don't. My daughter's worried. My neighbors, you know, no. This is my passion. This is the vision for my life. You have to have grit if you want to win. It was the same way when I graduated from school of ministry. I was having problems with my daughter. I was taking her with me to school. I had, you know, all kinds of. I was having problems with my career. I had all kinds of reasons not to finish school of ministry. At this problem when I wrote my first book, my second book, and my third. There was always something challenging me not to do it. Always. I had this challenge when I went on my first mission trip to Costa Rica. You know, had this challenge when it's the same stuff that happens over and over again. I had this challenge when I was raising my daughter. You always run across challenges, but the ones that succeed are the ones that fight past the challenges, hang in there, don't give up, show some grit, and see your vision on the other side. Those people are the winners. I think it's also important to understand, and we'll get into successful concepts here in a minute. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't been paying attention, yes, we're on concepts. Believe it or not, we're talking about business principles. But the business principles we're talking about are the same as life principles. That's the reason why I want to start off this series, start off the broadcast with Paul C. Dozier, with business. Because whether you're in business or you're not in business and you're running a family, or maybe you don't consider your social club a business, they all run off the same principles. And so those principles are the things that I really want to share with you. And how one of the people that I'm very, very motivated by is a man by the name of Jack Hayford. Jack Hayford started a ministry called Church on the Way here in Los Angeles. I think in Van Nuys, I'm not sure. You might have heard me talk about him before. He's one of my leadership mentors. Most have not heard about him or heard, but when you listen to the guy, you can tell he loves God and he loves seeing people win. I'm not suggesting you do what I say. What I am suggesting is you take what I say and you look it up for yourself. Or I'm planting seeds or I'm watering seeds, but it will be God that gives you the increase. The credibility of what's being said will germinate that seed. So I'm just laying a bunch of seed. I'm scattering seed. And in hopes that you catch some of these things and understand your power to walk in principles and recognize the road that you're on, whether in business, socially, or personally, that is no different. I was talking to people about certain types of planning and how planning personally is the same as planning in business. They just use different verbiage. But they're the same thing. I was studying for a test and they have 3 ways of saying the same thing. And the trick is you have to understand all 3. And I'm using 3 as an example. It could be 2 things, 2 ways of saying certain things. It could be. I got to be careful what I say it is because, again, I've got some great stuff happening and I can't wait to tell you about it. But it's just not the right time. That's really all I can say. It's fantastic. But here's my point. The seeds that we're planting is all about giving you the courage to do the research yourself, to see how the principles work, whether they're in business or socially or personally. Principles are the principles. One of those principles is understanding a concept. Now, for you to get what I'm saying here, by the way, I hope you're taking notes. You're in class. Whether you're watching this on YouTube, which I see is slowing down. You see how that's slowing down there?
Yeah.
Whether you're watching this on YouTube or you're watching this on Facebook Live, you're in class.
What? That doesn't make sense. Doesn't.
So understand this when it comes to concepts. What we talked about before was the importance of innovating. Understanding innovation is crucial to understanding how to write out your concept. So in other words, if you don't understand what you're innovating, if you're looking to do the very same thing someone else is doing, that's not innovating. When you're creating a business, you have to be filling some sort of gap. And you do that through innovation. As an example, we had checker and yellow taxi for years. How was Uber and Lyft able to come in and take over that market? They innovated. They filled a gap. They upgraded the experience to the degree where Uber has even gone into aviation, because the business model can work across multiple industries because they innovated. That innovation is then transferred into a concept. The concept itself contains the innovation. So what I'm saying is, if we can figure out, and we also talked about doing things based upon your talent. So if we can figure out what it is that you're talented at, what it is that I'm talented at, what it is, how do I take what I'm talented at and do something completely different from someone else? How do I find out and create based upon my market? How do I understand how to do that? How do I take what most people are doing and put a twist on it and fulfill a need? How do I innovate? Once I figure out how to do that, now I have to create a concept. And there are plenty of concepts out there. Now, before I give you examples of a concept, which I have a few concepts here, think about in your own life. The thing that you have a desire to do, because everything starts at desire level. After desire is usually when people start making excuses. Procrastinating. After desire level. Listen, that's just dream level. It hasn't even become a vision yet. So at desire level, what is it that you desire? Once you determine that, your desire, that is, you can figure out from there what you're good at. what your talent is based upon. Because keep in mind what I said, I believe it was yesterday's show or the show before that, or the class before that. Once you start a business, you have to have a passion of some sort. You might have a passion for just putting together the processes. The product may not even make a difference for you, but you may have a passion for the product itself. But the product may not make a difference. The principles may not make a difference. You may have a passion for the collaboration, but the collaboration may not make a difference for you. You may use a model to pay for a passion that you want. I don't know what your talent is, what your gift to society is, but you have one. Everyone does. If you build a business based upon that, listen, whether this is good or bad, this is my passion and I love it. It's not even work for me. This is fun. But it's challenging. I know about the clock, the clock, setting it up and getting the marketers and, running the commercials and all that. I went to school for that stuff. But it's not about all that stuff to me. For me, once I draw those people in, we'll add those things. But having the broadcast itself and transferring the information is a passion for me. It's something that I've done off and on for many, many years. It feels natural to me. You can't change my mind on that. Many have tried, So the point is to get to that place of concept. You have to know who you are in the scheme of things, what your role is. You have to be in a position where you are willing to take the time to innovate, because a concept, as we said yesterday, is not something that you just write down on a piece of paper. It's something that is well researched. It's a couple of pages long. Now, don't make the mistake that I've made and think that your concept is your executive summary. Your concept is not your executive summary. In fact, there should be 2 or 3 lines in there explaining your concept in your executive summary. The concept is explained throughout the business plan. Now watch this. And is divided up into sections and is consistent all the way through your business plan. Because the business plan is an explanation of your concept. Think like this. Part of your concept is how your item or how your service is going to be marketed. Now, if you're going to be a real estate investor, if you're going to be, if that's your concept to be a real estate investor, it may not be that you're marketing. It may be that you're soliciting. Same responsibilities are there. still need collaboration. You still need everything that we talked about. You still need that stuff. So, even in your solicitation, you have to be able to offer a unique value proposition of what it is that you do or you offer. There has to be something unique about what you're doing, which is tied directly to your marketing strategy. So your unique, your see, you know, and when I use these technical terms, I feel like I have to say them differently. You know, not very many people have heard of a unique value proposition, at least not in my community. A unique value proposition is a sales pitch. It's a part of your marketing plan. It's how you're documenting how you're going to do something, and what does it take to get one out of every try you get. It's understanding what you offer and how to present what you offer to someone else to get them to say yes. I was talking to a guy today from St. Louis, just in case he's listening to this, because he has to do a background check on me for something else that we're partnering with. And we were talking about some ideas that we have. And he nicely said, well, why don't I do this? Because this will offer you the best value. I may not be able to do that, but I want to at least try. Because then, I can position you this way or that way, and you'll still have the flexibility of doing these things over that, But I told him what my unique value proposition was, and he was able to make a judgment on whether now I have to trust him as a partner, because I'm collaborating with this man who has resources that are significant to pull off the business model that I'm interested in doing, or at least a portion of it. But if you don't know what that unique value proposition is, then it's hard to attract those because they want to know what it is that or let me put it like this. If you take on the position of, I don't know another way of putting this. If you take on a weak position of lack and approach people in a weak position of lack, acting like an employee that needs something, you're not going to attract people who are even interested in your value proposition. You're going to attract people who are going to take advantage of the talent that you have that they see, but you don't see. I don't even know if you understand that. I really don't. I understand it. That's the challenge. Now keep in mind overall what we're talking about here. Black business ownership. And listen, this is not just black business ownership. This is people who do not see themselves as they want to be a business owner. By the way, business ownership is not for everyone. Let me put that qualifier in there. Because listen, if you're not willing to pay the price of building your own model, or if you're not willing to pay the price to learn from someone who has their own model, like a McDonald's, and you put up to $2-3 million, or you're going to take out the loan that they'll offer you after you put up your assets to be able to represent their business model, or they put you in a neighborhood that that may limit your opportunities. There are prices to pay everywhere you go. Business ownership is no joke. You have to find the people who can help you with marketing. You have to find the people who can help you with human resources. You have to find the people who are willing to be trained. You have to find the people who are not going to shoot you in the foot when you're first getting started. You have to find the people who are interested in your products and your services. You have a lot to do, but in life, what else is there to do other than create something? If owning a business is your desire, there is nothing wrong with wanting to be what people call an employee. Now, I personally don't believe in the idea of being an employee, but I do believe in mentoring people. There's nothing wrong with being mentored and staying on in that position where someone is walking you through, but at the same time not taking advantage of you. But it's important. Strike that, not but. It is important that you come to understand who you are, what you have to offer, what's your unique value proposition, so that you can build out your concept. So I want to give you an idea of some concepts. And I'm going to use one in particular because I'm kind of close. Well, I'm going to list a couple. I gave you one, which was Uber. What a concept. You know what Uber is?
Yeah, it's like a transportation thing.
Transportation. She hit it right. What a concept. What's interesting is it's innovative in how they do it, but it's not a new idea. Just as we've been talking about. High frequency trading. Where people were day trading on their personal computers. That just started in 1998. What a concept. The various types of venture capitalists, social networking, those are all concepts. Now, in some cases, technology, which were concepts from the old telephone, and satellite systems, which was a concept from the military, and being able to put all these, in the radio, and putting all these things together, and now we're at the place of social media. Social media.
Social media didn't exist in the 1990s.
Social media didn't, not to this degree.
You had to talk to each other face to face.
Face to face. 11 years old. 11?
Yeah.
Oh wow, you weren't even around in
Even
1998.
Uber. The only thing is Uber now.
Yeah.
You have to do it on your phone on an app.
Yeah.
But in Uber in the 1990s and back in the 1880s or 1990s, you have to shout out to call for an Uber.
Shout out. Okay. Go get Garfield, by the way. Stand in the room with him. Make sure he doesn't, or take him outside. All right. My granddaughter has it right. Hey, that's all a part of the family business. I'm sorry. That's just the way this is going to work. But anyway, so the point is, if you don't understand let me put it like this. The concept, and I feel like I need to drill this home, and so that's the reason why I am. is not based upon something that has never happened before. The concept will be based upon something that already was. The only thing you're adding for it to be considered a concept is innovation. Like the supermarket. Sorry, tongue problem. No, supermarket. Now I remember the corner store. I also remember the grocery store, and I remember the supermarket. You know, like the Walmarts that have clothes and food and electronics. You know, for the kids today, that's no big deal. When I was growing up, we started off with the corner store and a grocery store. In fact, there was a butcher at the grocery store, and there are butchers at stores now. But if you're going to get meat, most of it wasn't prepackaged. You went to the butcher. You know, you bought your bacon from the butcher. You bought your beef. You know, they ground your beef. But innovation, prepackaged, GMO, innovation. Yeah, let me touch on this. I'll probably close with this. One of the greatest concepts ever was the ability for a tribe to take care of their dead. Inside that group of people could be men, young men, and fathers who went off to war, leaving the mother and children behind with no resources. Being a part of a society, of a group of people, means the very concept of pooling your resources together to provide for the necessities of those who lacked resources. In other words, they put in what they could based upon the realities of their economic position. But being a part of a larger group meant that there were going to be resources for anyone inside that group, regardless of their economic status. They would be taken care of. What a concept. It sounds like an innovative concept, but it isn't. Just that particular part of it, that's not, there's no innovation there. That's a concept that's been around for thousands of years. Some of the basic parts of what we've been talking about is the importance of collaboration. But to have collaboration, there needs to be trust. There needs to be buy-in to a group idea. You can't do it by yourself. There has to be someone you're collaborating with to be able to pull something like that off. My God, who was able to pull that off where everyone had something? I'm not talking about socialism. Socialism is a new word in comparison to this history. You know, some of these buzzwords that are in our society today are there only to scare you from some of the concepts that are buried within some of these words, like conservatism and socialism and all this other stuff. These words are used now to divide us. These words are used to tell us that we're a part of one group or the other. So to believe in a concept, I have to be a Democrat or a Republican? That doesn't make any sense to me. How come I can't be a human being and I like some things that this group is saying and some things that this group is saying if we're a part of the collaborative nature of the United States of America? But I digress. I digress. Going back to the original statement that I was saying, having a successful concept is understanding the history of something so that you understand what the lack is where you can be innovative. That's where you get the concept of a supermarket. Sorry about that. Supermarket. That's where you get the concept of an Uber. That's where you get the concept of social media. That's where you get the concept of bottled water. In the 70s, I couldn't imagine paying for water. I think we spend like now. I think we spend like $80 or $90 a month just on bottled water in this house, and maybe it's less because one of our business partners owns the water shop. I don't know, $40 or $50 or something like that. I don't know. My daughter's business partners, rather, not mine. What a concept! Buying bottled water. Filtered water. We used to have this little mesh net on the sink. And, we considered that the filter. And every once in a while you pull it off and you clean it and put the filter, you screw the filter. That was our filtered water. Now filtered water is something completely different. Now, a bottle of it could cost you 99 cents for 1 quart. 1 quart, 99 cents. Online retailing. What a concept. But it's not a new concept. Online retailing, although looks different today, Sears had mail orders years ago. But the nature of that. So imagine having a collaborative group that comes together in England in the 1700s that comes up with a concept to take on an old school idea of making sure that people who are a part of this group, let's just say for sake of argument, it's a church. That happens to be in a couple of regions. Let's just say New York and Philadelphia. And they want to take care of their distressed widows and poor, which is scriptural. So they all pour into this fund, and so when something happens, they have resources to take care of those people. Let's just say, from that idea, not too many years later, they have a concept of being able to offer these things, these ideas to other people. Under the banner of a company, maybe not an association or a social construct, but now under a business. That's why I say you can do it personally with your own family. You can do it socially, you can do it as a business. Now, I'm not talking, the reason why I'm not talking specifically about the idea itself and what that is, I have a few reasons for it, but it doesn't matter. What matters is once you discover by looking on the inside and looking at your desires. I'm not saying you desire a car, I desire a house, something so temporal. It's got to be a desire that adds value, unique value proposition. Now, I went a long way just to explain a unique value proposition there. I hope you guys are with me. Your unique value proposition is the very thing that you have to offer. Now, let me take a side note, and I hope you're taking notes, or I hope you look at this over and over again, or listen to it over and over again. Once you discover what that is, the government has codes for it. You should write this down. SIC.com. SIC. I try to give you something every week. SIC. S is in Sam. I is in Ingrid. C is in cop. Coop. Copper. SIC.com. Or NAICS.com. N is in Nancy, A is in Apple, I is in Ingrid, C is in cat, S is in Sam.com. Once you understand what your desire is, you can go to one of those codes, and it will define it for you. Now, in most cases, you're not going to be able to do everything that code says. You don't need to. So, in other words, you say, well, I like to teach. Well, I want to be a real estate investor. But it has to be something unique. It has to be something that you're offering the world. I want to develop something. I want to create something. I want to, but it has to be based upon something. You have to have a unique value proposition. Well, how do I develop a unique value proposition? I can't say it's simple, but I will say this. I'm looking at glass right now. If I want to create a new piece of glass, I may be approaching that as a glass blower. I may be approaching that as an engineer. I may be approaching that as an artist. What is your approach to that one desire? I may want to design a different type of car. Or maybe I just want to sell them. I may want to design a different type of food. There are people that do that. Maybe you're approaching it as a chemist. Maybe you're approaching it as a farmer. I do not know. So to figure out what your unique value proposition is, you have to understand how you're approaching it. From what perspective? Remember we talked about perspective, prospective, and perception. Um, don't take that lightly. That's important. You have to have those things. You know, you have to perceive things the right way. You can't approach it from an employee mindset. You can't even approach it from a self-employed mindset. You have to approach it from a business ownership mindset. So, what is your unique value proposition? I think I'm going to go another video on this. So, the successful concept that I was sharing with you, that is a well-established concept that was created thousands of years ago, that was innovated in the 1700s, that is constantly being innovated today, which makes a lot of companies extremely wealthy and employ a lot of people. The concept I just presented to you is rich in its ability to innovate. Rich. Some of the most powerful people in the world are involved with that particular concept. In one way or the other. Once we've established concept, part of understanding concept is understanding the opportunities you have with that concept. And we'll talk more about that probably in tomorrow but definitely next week. We'll get into what does it take to discover the opportunity for my concept. If you're interested, you can reach me at pcdozier.com/the broadcast. Just sign up, send me a question. I'll be sure to answer whatever questions you send me. Again, it's pcdozier.com/the broadcast. Sign in, leave a message, or you can find us on YouTube. You can leave a message on YouTube at youtube.com/Paul Dozier Media. That's D as in David, Ozier, Paul Dozier Media. Or you could just type in the Paul C. Dozier broadcast. Now I'm going to try to do this consistently, the whole sign-off thing. Beloved, I wish above all things that thou may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. And even with that, I pray that you discover the God in you.